Okay, there we go.
Yep. Okay.
Can't read it, but there we go.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Ben, and today we're going to be talking about LUSH, the cosmetics firm, and Wonga.com, the payday loan company. So first we're going to look at the reputations they've built up over time, and then look into which one is most likely to be successful going into the future. And then finally we'll look at the link between corporate social responsibility and good business outcomes. This is Anika, and she's now going to talk to you about the concept of corporate social responsibility.
The term corporate social responsibility encompasses within its meaning a commitment to ethical decision making. Organisations seek to involve themselves in initiatives which have a positive impact on society and the environment. The idea is summed up by Cohen. CSR is a way of doing business that is based on ethical principles and structures, management controls, and that takes into account social and environmental considerations alongside economic considerations when making business decisions, and attempts to create positive impacts on all stakeholders. CSR is a voluntary approach going beyond compliance with laws and regulations.
So let's first introduce you to Wonga.com. They're a British payday loan company that was founded in 2007 by Errol Damlin and Jonty Purwitz. They offer short-term but high-cost credit and currently offer these loans in the UK, South Africa, Poland and Canada. These loans are an average annualised percentage of 5,853%. On top of this is a £30 late fee charge if you miss your payment day, and this credit builds up with interest for up to 60 days after your payment day. They've made large profits in recent years, and it is quoted as having £84.5 million of pre-tax profit in 2012.
LUSH Retail Limited Company is a cosmetics company founded in 1994 by Mark and Mo Constantine. They started out developing recipes for bath and beauty products, selling them on to other companies which included the likes of The Body Shop. LUSH is now an established brand and entity in itself, with both successful commercially and ethically, operating nearly 900 stores in over 550 countries. Their main ethos taken from their website is to buy ingredients from companies that do not commission tests on animals and using human volunteers instead. We believe that the main factors in LUSH's success are their strong brand identity, their ability to stick to their beliefs and translating this through their customers and the public, building trust in their brand and reputation. The brand focuses on their customers who have a natural affinity to LUSH. We believe that LUSH is most successful in building and achieving customer trust in its brand offers and promises. Customers are happy with the brand experience, products and services, advertising, packaging and availability. Sales and LUSH's services all work together to create this value. The brand cares about the broader community in which customers live in. The values LUSH express in their brands are the same as employees' experiences from their leaders, in the company culture, in their behaviour with each other. The organisation continually improves processes to ensure that very little gets in the way of delivering good value to customers.
So let's look at now why Wonga has become successful. First of all, poor economic performance in the countries in which it operates. So there are more people who are unemployed or their real wages are decreasing. So that people need to take out these loans in order to pay things like monthly bills. And also, their website is very easy to use. So here we have a screenshot. You can see people go on it and put how much cash they want to borrow, and then how long do they want to borrow it for, so when will their repayment day be. And then it gives them their borrowing, their interest and fees, and then their total repayment. This is very easily done, as you can see. And also, another reason for their success has been their use of smartphones. So they have an app which you can download, and it's also very easy to use, very quick. You can get the loan in 5 minutes, which is very easily done. And finally, advertising has helped them gain a market share and stay ahead of their competition. So you probably all know the TV adverts they have, and also the radio adverts as well. So let's look at their reputation. They've built up a lot of bad publicity since their founding in 2007, and examples of being a parish clerk who took out Wonga loans and then eventually got into debts of £30,000, and students have also got into trouble using Wonga, where they've taken out Wonga loans to help pay their student debts, and then have had to roll over, which means taking out another payday loan in order to pay for their existing payday loan. So rolling over has been in the news in recent weeks. This is from about 10 days ago. And they argue that it is like a meeting between politicians and payday loans company leaders. And they argued that rolling over is suitable in many cases for many of their customers. But the government is trying to impose a limit to just 2 rolling over events to prevent big problems like people getting into debt, like I said before. Wonga has hit back at them, however, and says that a high proportion of its customers are very happy with the service they receive, and the cases that are reported in the news that give them this bad reputation are actually very rare. The amount of people who said they were satisfied with their Wonga service is 96%, quoted from one source. However, this is an interesting stat here that 28% of their loans aren't repaid on time. So this includes people who have to roll over and after their deadline day, and also people who aren't able to pay on the actual day but have to pay the fine of going slightly over their limit. So now we're going to see a short video clip from BBC News, which Nigel Wass, who is the Chief Operating Officer of Wonga, talks about his business on Newsnight.
I love my girlfriend. It was love at first sight. I didn't ask her out straight away. I just turned up and took her out for a meal.
Today we're announcing a movie called 12 Portraits from a director called Gary Tarn, and he's trying to dispel some of the myths that our image that you refer to has out there in the UK. I think if you look at the movie, what you'll see is a representation of our customer base, 12 portraits in fact, representing actually 1 million active customers. So you can make up your own mind.
Yes, I mean, he was hired by Wong to make the movie. He's not doing it as an independent, acting independently from you. What about the criticism that these are 12 happy customers, and so therefore it isn't a rounded picture, because these are 12 customers who presumably have paid their money back on term quickly, and that is not the case for all your customers.
Yeah, I think Gary, first of all, had complete editorial independence over what he made. He chose the customers himself. We gave him a database, he selected them. We have 1 million active customers, as you rightly pointed out.
Can I just take you back on that? Freehand, he who pays the piper pays the tune, and that's first of all. And actually, if Gary Tarn had produced a film which showed somebody defaulting on their Wonga loan, having to perhaps pay 375% credit, getting another loan to pay off a Wonga loan, destitute on the pavement, would you have been happy that would be in the film?
Well, there are 12 portraits, one of whom actually has defaulted, and if you look at the interest and fees on our site over in Wonga, you'll see that included with one of those is a default of one of the customers.
But this customer is not a destitute customer.
No, and the vast majority of our customers are not. And this is why we're making the film, because the perception out there is that all of our customers are poor and vulnerable, and we think the voice of the silent majority, the people who actually use the service, is not being heard.
But the trouble is, if you present too rosy a picture, it encourages people that perhaps really can't afford it to take a loan. I just want to play a little clip.
So as you can see, Nigel Wass talks very positively about his business, despite the criticism that it receives. Is that coming on?
Fine as it is.
Yeah? Okay.
I'm just going to go through just a few management strategies that LUSH has used throughout their company. LUSH has actively engaged with a wide community and associated themselves with good causes. For example, founder Mark Constantine, a member of Friends of the Earth for over a decade, does not drive a car and applies his environmental beliefs religiously to his business, is a key figure in reinforcing good CSR management strategies to his company. Constantine uses cause-related marketing strategies by donating a proportion of income derived from sales initiatives in the way of a £250,000 charity pot. Each LUSH store sells body cream pots, with all proceeds going towards campaigns, so the product is effectively made for free and given away. LUSH also use corporate social marketing practices, helping to influence changes in behaviour that will have social benefits. In an interview for The Guardian, Constantine explains, "I like to look after people who like to look after other people. All first domestic flights are banned. LUSH recognised that the government refused to tax aviation fuel. LUSH do. This carbon tax is collected and goes straight back into supporting campaigns, supporting carbon change and cleaner transport companies of £120,000 a year. Wonga, on the other hand, does not involve itself in any such marketing strategies, and this is one of the reasons it is considered to have poor corporate social responsibility. At LUSH, all UK shops are fully owned, and the shops overseas are partnerships between LUSH and local managers. The LUSH partnership model ensures management commitment as well as commitment with the organisation. Personal ownership adds motivation, as well as the ability to invest in LUSH means that the LUSH brand will always be positively promoted, contributing to its success."
So let's look at their approaches to corporate social responsibility. So we'd say that Wonga is more towards the obstructionist approach, and this is varying all the way from firms giving little or no attention to corporate social responsibility and undergoing ethical and sometimes illegal actions, to the proactive approach, which we'd say is more what LUSH do, where the companies engage actively in socially responsible activities and attempt to set the industry high standard. So, as we've seen, Wonga don't appear to be that focused on their corporate social responsibility and have gained a bad reputation as a result. But they're trying to change this, and one of the examples is through that 12 short films, and we'll see more about their rebranding later on. LUSH, on the other hand, donate to lots of charities and lots of good causes, as well as many other things, and have a very good positive corporate social responsibility as a result.
LUSH is a company who are not afraid to support controversial campaigns. Each year it gives away £1 million to protect groups such as Frack Off, Plain Stupid and the Hunt Saboteurs Association, as well as giving its staff time off to attend demonstrations. LUSH has had its critics, particularly in its support of Plain Stupid, an anti-airport expansion group, as LUSH operates in airport terminals as well, proving that there will always be a conflict of interest concerning CSR and the ethical dilemma. There will always be a conflict between business and social ethics. However, in the article for The Telegraph, Constantine sums up the criticisms with the response, "You can't live in a perfect society. Who isn't hypocritical? Who out there leads a perfectly idealistic life? The fact that LUSH have actively supported controversial campaigns demonstrates that LUSH is a highly ethical company who are actively pursuing their beliefs, gaining their customer base trust and therefore becoming a very successful, profitable company." Ethical Director Hilary James stated in The Guardian, "We don't have a problem in supporting groups like Plain Stupid because we don't worry about our image. We aim to be braver in our giving, not grey and corporate."
So now let's look at Wonga and how it's trying to rebrand itself. First of all, its website is very positive about its business. They're trying to shrug off their bad reputation, and they use stats like 98% of our customers found our service easy to use, and 90% of customers would recommend us to a friend. They've also tried to use these 12 short films, in which they show real Wonga customers, as Nigel Wass was saying, that try and represent the majority of their customers, that give them a positive feedback on what they do. One of the examples, as he stated, was actually of a customer who defaulted, which is a very rare case, one would believe. However, it does sometimes happen. They also have lots of interviews similar to that one with Nigel Wass, where people high up in the Wonga company do one-on-one face-to-face interviews and talk very positively about their business and try and get rid of their bad reputation the best they can. They've also recently bought the rights to the name Everline and have added it to their credit license, and they've registered the website everline.com as well. This project is believed to be used in the future as sort of a savings and mortgages part of the firm, but this has not been confirmed just yet. And another way they've tried to do this is by buying Nahar credits. They're trying to gain entrance into the Asian market. So they've bought this payday loan company called Nahar Credits, and they're going to try and expand out there, as well as having their existing base in the UK. So, can Wonga be successful into the future? Well, the extent to which they are successful in the future depends on many factors. First of all, the competition they face is a lot stronger now than it has been previously, and they're going to struggle to hold their market share, so they're continuing to invest in advertising and things like that. Another problem might be the economic recovery in the developed world, in the countries they operate in. So if economic growth continues to occur and people don't need to take out these Wonga loans anymore, then their profits could fall. However, they're trying to counteract this by moving into new markets like with Nahar credits in India and into the Asian market. Also, their rebranding is quite a key thing. If they're successful in being able to rebrand and try and turn over this bad reputation they've got into more of a positive reputation, then they could be successful going into the future with a good corporate social responsibility. Also, improved ethics is a key thing. So if people view them as being more ethical, so they could, for example, decrease their percentage of their interest that they give on loans, or possibly look more closely at people's credit ratings that they do lend to, so that more people pay back on time. They're seen as more ethical, and this bad reputation, the bad news that you see in the press, hopefully that decreases. Another problem, though, could be new regulation. So the government is going to likely to impose that limit of rolling over to just 2, and Wonga is also worried about other examples of this, so other types of regulation that could be enforced, which could decrease their profits into the future.
In our view, LUSH will be the most successful in the future compared with Wonga, because it is an actively growing company with a high ethical values, high corporate social responsibility portrayed positively in the media, with a strong ethical founder in Mark Constantine. With all these factors, LUSH has positioned themselves to grow even larger, as their trust in their customer base will drive LUSH to grow and grow. The most important contributing factor in LUSH's success for the future, compared with Wonga, is that they have achieved customer trust. LUSH clearly state they are not a charity. The company makes its objectives very clear, and an important aim is to make profit. At LUSH, they believe in contributing to making people's lives better, and at the same time, LUSH deserves rewards also. At LUSH, they believe in contributing to making... LUSH clearly illustrated this through their brands, products, advertising, campaigns, and supporting activist groups, which has enabled them to push towards being a global brand, whom have already expanded in Europe, Canada, Australia, South America, Singapore, and Japan. Directly from LUSH's website, LUSH puts a huge emphasis on environment and sustainability. They state caring about the environment is one of our top priorities. We have a dedicated team who work hard to reduce our waste, carbon, energy, and water consumption, as well as people throughout the factory and shops working hard to implement this. The environment and sustainability is a huge topic of debate in the media and amongst the public today. A company who are actively seeking to improve this issue can only help to build on LUSH's brand and help them become more successful in the future.
So finally, let's look at the link between corporate social responsibility and good business outcomes. First of all, we'd expect to see a good corporate social responsibility would mean good business outcomes. In the case of LUSH, they built a company of good ethics, where they donate to charities and good causes. This has meant that they have a successful business. However, this is not the case of Wonga, who are seen as having a poor corporate social responsibility, but still have been successful. So why is this the case? Well, firstly, with LUSH, in their market with the Body Shop and other firms, they need to have a good reputation in order to continue this success. If there was, again, a poor reputation and a bad corporate social responsibility, then it's likely that it would lose their market share and profits would decrease. However, in the case of Wonga, there are many firms in the market who, like Wonga, have poor corporate social responsibility. And it is of little importance for people who take out these loans that they do have a poor corporate social responsibility, as it is a necessity to them in order to repay their bills. So we're not sure if this will last, though, as Wonga's success has come in times of poor economic circumstances, and the possibility of future changes in regulation mean they may struggle into the future. They have to continue with their rebranding and prevent future bad press in order to improve their corporate social responsibility, and this may mean that their business can still be a success into the future. However, this will not be easily done. Thank you very much for listening. We've got a bit of biography there as well.
So, who has our first question?
So, how high is Wonga's interest rate in comparison to other day loan companies?
Well, they're all very high, and it does vary depending on your situation. So if somebody who has a very good credit rating and is employed, likely to get paid very soon and all that things, then they're going to get a much lower interest rate. And also if you use Wonga a lot and take out lots of loans and do repay them on time, let's say you repay them early as well, then you're likely to get a lesser interest rate. And this is the case for all the firms as well. But generally they're all very high, and I think it's about £1 a day or something along these lines that they usually charge.
Yeah, I think one of the problems is all these companies, they collude together in the sense that they all set quite a similar high interest rate, so there's not many options for people who are desperate for money.
Do you think with these, there are the kind of 12 short film schemes and stuff like that they have actually managed to overcome criticism from unethical strategies?
I think they're going to struggle to do it because their reputation in the first place was so poor. Like, if looking at the handout that you guys have got, if you read it before you came on, say you go, oh, Wonga, they've got a bad reputation. Straight away, it's just something we think of now because we see it in the news all the time. So it's going to be very hard for them to turn it around.
Yeah, shake it off, because when you get bad publicity, it's hard to get away from that, and you'll always have whatever Wonga try to do, however much they spend on advertising, they will always have that bit of bad publicity. Like, if you search Wonga on the internet, wrote it in Google, you're guaranteed to have a negative article about them.
Yeah. So they're attempting to do it. You can see through the different things that they're trying to do, but it's going to take time as well as a lot of money and a lot of effort to be able to turn that over.
The strategies of Wonga sort of advertise, like sponsoring Newcastle or their adverts, you believe that they're sort of targeting the sort of less educated people, sort of just to make sure that they can get, but they may not understand what they're getting themselves into. Is that what you believe?
I think definitely they are targeting vulnerable people, maybe not less educated. I think we're in a time where we're in a recession, people are desperate for quick cash. It's hard to get loans from the banks. I think that's kind of what they're targeting, vulnerable people, and there are vulnerable people today. One of them the group are students. Like, I think all of us can kind of empathise with the fact that we are tight on money, we spend money quite frivolously, and I think that's who they're targeting. And
but they maintain that it's not just vulnerable poor people that they're trying to get loans to, because you do have to fill out a credit rating. If you're unemployed, then you can't. It's very hard for you to take out a loan for Wonga. So they try and focus on people who will be able to repay them. That's what they stress. But it is very easily done. Like, they don't need proof of it as well. So if you on that Newsnight article, what they were just going to go into was showing a woman who she took out an initial loan of £300 or something, and then had repaid this by rolling over. So she had her debt, £300 taken out, she owed 400, let's say. So she's taken out another Wonga loan to pay for it, and done this 2 or 3 times. And it spiralled out to about £2,000, I think it was, which she obviously can't repay. And the reason why she was able to get this loan was because she'd stated that she was employed on her application. They don't need any proof of it. you just state you're employed or unemployed. And if she'd been unemployed on that initial thing, then she was more likely to not have been able to get the loan. But whereas she put she was employed, then they had no hesitation in providing her with this money, but she did then not repay. So that's one of the things they need to improve is, you know,
The ethical practice,
Yeah.
like
make it hard for these people to get the loan who won't be able to pay it.
regulation.
Do other brands with like a similar nature, like in the short-term loan industry, do they have the same problems with bad publicity in terms of their kind of ethical approach, or is it just Olga?
No, I think so. I think a lot of these companies, especially now, because we've seen the last few years, obviously we've had the recession, so we've not heard much about, like these payday loans obviously have increased during the recession. We've not heard much about them, the negatives about them, because we're going through it, they were taking out the loans, people didn't have to pay loans back, and now we're hearing all the negatives about them, and definitely there are lots on the market because there is a demand for them, and we're seeing now in the media that they're being criticised, and there are lots of them.
So do you think it's easier for a company like LUSH, which has kind of been within like beauty products,
Yeah.
to have, it's kind of a more obvious thing for them to have like a marketing approach to do with having like an ethical approach? I think it'd be easier for them.
What, easier for them to have a positive?
Like to be more ethical because they're kind
Yeah,
of
I
within
think
beauty
so.
and everything.
Yeah, I think so, because LUSH's main ethos is to not test on animals, to be good to the environment, and it's easy to do that because they're selling a product, and it's not like they're not selling loans as such, but it's just, it is easier. But the way they're going about it, the strategies they're using, they're very honest, and I think that's the key point. I think LUSH is a very honest company, and they have had criticisms, and they do, like for example, when I talked about plain stupid, they have had criticisms in that respect, and supporting activist groups that not necessarily the majority of public believe in, but it just shows that they believe in their ethics, they're very trustworthy, and it's like the complete polar opposite to Wonga, who who don't, their customer, but there's no trust there basically.
I think with LUSH though, it is quite an important thing for them in terms of the market they're in to have a good corporate social responsibility and to have good ethics, because people look upon them as a company with a good reputation, so they're more likely to use it. I think that's more to do with the market they're in, as opposed to if Wonga started becoming more ethical and things, because it's like a necessity for a lot of people. I don't think that's anywhere near as important in that market compared to the market LUSH.
And at the end of the day, LUSH wants to make a profit, and if they can make a profit by selling that they, have great ethics, then why not do it? Because that's another form of increasing their revenues.
That's how they distinguish themselves from other
Definitely.
manufacturers.
Definitely. Yeah.
Why are like payday loans so much more interest than normal loans? Do you know what I mean? So why is the interest rates a lot higher than, say, you got a loan from the bank or something?
Well,
I think they're quite quick cash. It's quick cash.
well, if I just show you the homepage of Wonga. Yeah, here it is. Okay, at the top here it says we can send you up to £400 within 5 minutes of your loan being approved. So it's just quick, easy money, and to people that otherwise would be able to get loans out.
And I think the high interest is also, because obviously if you take out a loan during a long period of time, the bank is going to make a lot of money throughout 25 years. But if you compare a loan in that you have to pay in a week, a company has to charge a high interest rate just to get some benefit out of that, just to make some money. So I think that's why mainly the interest rate is so high.
Yeah, so that the average annualised percentage at their highest one is 5,853%, but that's for a whole year, and that's the highest they'll go. So if it's over a period of time, like I think their maximum is 40 days. It was 30, and they've extended to 40, but that's the maximum. So if you take out £400, and that's the maximum you can take. If you're doing that over 40 days, paying a certain amount each day, it's still going to not add up to very much more than £400. So they're only making a small profit on them, really. Even if but then there's obviously a lot of loans, and they do have 1 million customers they have. So
And they have to cover their overheads.
Yeah, exactly.
And their admin.
They have to cover the people who won't pay as
And that's
well.
the other thing, it's a risky business.
It is a risky
And
business, yeah.
Basically, those people who pay their loans back are also paying for the ones who are not paying their
Yeah,
loans back.
exactly. Exactly.
So, do you even think it's possible for a company like Wonga to become completely honest for their customers?
I think they're not too bad with their honesty and things. But they do need to, gain some good ethics, like they're trying to do with their rebranding, and it is possible for them to do to become a good corporate social responsibility company. But
I think, the main criticism is they don't use laws or regulations, and the fact that they let anyone go on you've seen the website, they let anyone go on the website, fill in some details, and they don't check if they're being honest. Like, if you're desperate for money, you're not necessarily going to tell the truth. And I think they just need to be a bit more aware and put in some more regulation. And then I think with that, they will benefit as well, because they're more likely to choose people that will pay back their loans. So it's kind of a circle, really. I think if they improve their regulation on their website, then I think they'll make more money, they'll have more money, and then they'll improve their image, and with that they'll get more people coming and wanting to borrow money off them.
So do you think LUSH is going to be more successful in the future, or Wonga?
I think LUSH, because I think they've got such a strong customer trust, and they have got such a positive image in the media and it's hard for them to do something wrong. Like, they're selling products which are, animal tested free. They're such a young company as well. In the space of 10 years, they developed from a small shop in Poole in Dorset to having over 900 stores in 50 countries in 10 years, and you think that it's incredible how much they've grown, and they're still building. They're still obviously doing their really high corporate social responsibility and ethics and everything, and I think they'll just grow and grow and grow. And I think with Wonga is that with these kind of companies, they're very successful in the short term because of a recession. I mean, the economy does go up and down, and because we're down at the moment, these kind of companies are very successful. But once we come out of recession, I think we're going to see these companies struggle. And I think with LUSH, if we're in a recession, they'll still have their core customer base, because their core customer base know LUSH, they understand LUSH, and they trust LUSH, so they'll keep going back. Yeah.
So do you think Wonga will be targeted to expand, to target the next country which go into recession, trying to work out where it'll next be able to have the most memorable people?
Yeah, seeing as their experience in the UK and other countries they operate in has been in a poor time with economic performance, that may be one of the things they go into in the future. So if the economy starts to downturn, then they'll try and get into that market. Like maybe what they do with the Indian firm, Now Hard Credits, they might buy a small company in that country and then operate under that name, which is already familiar in that country, as opposed to going in and saying, we're Wonga from the UK, trying to do it like that. That might be the route they take.
It's quite cheap to set up these companies. It's very cheap to put up a website, and if you've got certain money in your account, then you can lend it out. so it's very easy, but it can be very easy for the mix to expand, and they will always have a market. People always will want money, but I think the point that we're trying to like push is that their corporate social responsibility, they have none at the moment. Their ethics are so poor that they should not be allowed to. And I think this industry needs laws and regulation to stop people from suffering, because people do suffer.
Thanks, Yusuf.
So does LUSH have any great competitors that should be worried about?
Well, the body shops.
Yeah, I think the body shop. Yeah, well, Markham Constantine actually worked with Anita Roddick right at the beginning, and they were very like close friends, and they worked together to develop the body shop at the beginning, and then I think they split off, and I think there is conflict between LUSH and the body shop. But I think if we all think about the two major kind of companies that kind of like sell products like what they're selling, I think we only kind of think about LUSH and the body shop kind of in terms of ethics and everything. And I think competition is always good. Like we look at the body shop and then we look at LUSH. LUSH is a very different company. It looks very organic. You go in and you see demonstrators, and it's very, it's very organic, and it's very young and youthful. And you go into Body Shop, which is equally as lovely, it's very nice, but you can see the packaging, and you can see it's all like packaged up, and it's more maybe for an older generation. And I think LUSH is very much, they've got the young market as well as the 24 to like 36s, and so I think it's kind of like they're both marketing at different generations, but at the same time they're kind of like working together. But I think competition kind of helps. So I think that is their main competitor, but at the same time it's not necessarily.
I think one last question.
Do you see sort of LUSH's support for radical groups as a potential problem, or is it going to be beneficial?
It's interesting because they donate, is it £1 million in total to those
three?
So it's quite interesting. I think it's sort of, they're not too bothered what people think necessarily about that. They want to support them because they believe they're right. That's a lot of the things that they do in the charities, their carbon tax that they impose on themselves, is not necessarily trying to gain this good reputation or change the public image of them. It's actually just so they're more ethical themselves. The owner's very into being ethical.
And I think it's important to practice what you preach, because if you practice what you preach, your employees will believe in it, and they'll be more motivated. And it kind of like, if your employees are motivated, if everyone believes the same things, and if you know that you're working for a company that has the right ethics and believes in what they stand for, then they're gonna, just put this onto the customer, and the customer will trust them.
I think you've answered enough questions now.
Yeah, so
Thank you very much.